Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome back to another episode of Vena Talks. If you're new here, kindly subscribe, like, and share our content. And if you're returning for the second, third, or fourth time, thank you very much for tuning in with us today. If you have not subscribed, kindly subscribe and stay tuned in for our topics on the daily. Thank you for tuning in with us today. Today we are going to talk about financial literacy, focusing mainly on financial planning and budgeting. These terms might sound very overwhelming and scary and intimidating, but they are very much needed in our daily lives. Today we are going to talk about financial planning and budgeting. You ask yourself, what is financial planning and budgeting? Financial planning is literally looking at the bigger picture. You ask yourself, where do you want to be in the long term? The goals you have created for yourself, how are you going to achieve them financially? So you ask yourself, when do you want to retire? Will your house be paid off by the time you retire? How do you financially plan to cater for your children and future children? And will your car be paid off in the next 2 years? And if you can buy both your dream car and dream house at the same time, how are you going to achieve those goals? And have you created a plan that's actually going to help you buy your house and your car at the same time? Because if you clearly didn't set out a plan, I don't know how you're going to juggle paying for your car and paying for your house that you really dream of, because that's going to be like expensive things, unless your dream house is just, I don't know, or your dream car is just, something very simple, then that's good. But if you're aiming big, I don't think you can literally get a G-Wagon and a 4-story house at the same time if your income is just simply 40,000 per month. You see, that's the kind of planning I'm talking about. So literally we need to focus on those big things and ask ourselves big questions as to where we want to go and where do we see ourselves in the next 5 years financially. Financial planning, the beginning of financial planning and the beginning of you planning your finances, you need to accept where you are and discover where you are. So if you are literally in debt, or you are bankrupt, or you are broke, you need to acknowledge that you are in debt. You need to acknowledge that you are broke at the moment where you are, and you need to acknowledge that you are bankrupt. Because only when you know where you are capable of determining where you are going and finding solutions as to what you want to do and where you want to go. So know where you are so you can know where you're going, okay? And also you need to keep in mind, you need to ask yourself, what is your income? When you know what your income is, it doesn't matter whether you have a salary that comes end of the month, or you literally have a business that gives you money on the daily, or you have a job that pays you every day. So that is your income, and you need to actually come up with ways that you manage your income properly. You need to determine which are your long-term expenses, which are your short-term expenses. Your short-term expenses include your household groceries, expenses, meaning that these are things that you keep restocking in each and every month, because these are the things that you don't actually gain any income from, but you spend on, but they are necessary for your upbringing and necessary for your human consumption, you understand. But long-term expenses, these are like your paying for your car for the next 2 years, or paying for your house, your bond. Yes, and also just to explain to you what expenses mean. Expenses are anything that it's an outflow of money that does not have the capacity to generate money or bring you income on its own. Those are the expenses. Literally, they don't provide any income for you. You might view it as you buying a car is not an expense, but buying a car that's not going to serve you or bring you income or actually help you in some form of benefit financially, it's an expense. And if you decide you're going to give your car for rental, it can become an asset because it's generating income for you, you see. So it's very important to look at these things before you decide you are spending on just anything. Okay. And we are going to talk about what budgeting is. Budgeting is different from financial planning. Financial planning is looking at the long term, and budgeting is looking on the now. It's like you're giving your money purpose for the now. You are deciding, okay, if I have this $500, what am I going to do with it? So you budget correctly and actually give your little room account for your money as to where you're putting it. So that you decide, oh, it's winter, I'm going to buy myself this jacket, or I'm putting out this money to save for my tuition and all that. You budget correctly. You budget within your income. If $500 is your income, you must budget within it, and you must give your money purpose as to things that you know you want to spend your money on, and not ask people, I don't know where my money goes, but I really, try to do this and this and this. Your money goes to things that you clearly don't want to spend on. That's why you cannot account for concrete things in your life. Like, you cannot say, I wanted to do this is something that is concrete. I wanted to build a house, and all of a sudden you spend your money on shoes, Louis Vuitton bags and Chanel bags. Obviously you are going to ask us where your money go, but you are clearly not going to ask yourself that Chanel bag cost me $30,000. I should have actually contributed to buy something more concrete. Maybe buy even a spade. That is the beginning of building a house. Maybe buy a spade if you're really, wanting to buy house building materials. I'm just saying. And also, coming back to financial planning, guys, you must have your financial goals, okay? Financial goals meaning that if you're planning on retiring at 45 or 30 or 25, you should have your goals as to what is going to keep you going, because if you're going to live up to 70, you have 50 years to go, so you should really plan your finances correctly as to what is going to keep you afloat in the long run. After creating your goals as to what you want, you want your car paid off, you want your house paid off, you want to be taking vacation each and every December for the next 20 years, you need to plan about how you're going to achieve these goals. So you should have a plan. Financial plans are very important because planning allows you to actually determine how you are spending your money, and it helps you keep track and account for your money, what you are actually using it on. And honestly, you cannot go wrong with your plan if you are disciplined enough to follow your plan that you have created for yourself, and your finances will be good. Having a financial plan is very important because it's going to help you keep count and track of how you are spending your money. You will know exactly where your $2, your $5 is going. You will know where your 500 went last week. So it's very important to have a plan so you don't end up spending your money on unnecessary things. Budgeting, on the other hand, is simply asking yourself, like, okay, I have this $200. How do I get to spend it? One thing that has really helped me in budgeting is creating a list of what I want. Before I go shopping, I must already have a list as to what I want. If I'm going shopping for food, I should write down what I'm going to buy. And if I'm going shopping for clothes, I should write down the clothes that I want, so that when I go in the shop, I don't shop with my eyes. There are those people who just shop with their eyes. Shopping with your eyes is not a good thing, because when you shop with your eyes, you are going to buy literally everything that looks appealing in your eyes, and it's not really good. It's not going to help you. It's not going to help you today, tomorrow, or the next day, or even in the long run, because if you're shopping with your eyes, you will literally forget your needs, and then you focus on the things that are appealing, and then when you go home, you're like, oh my gosh, where did my money go? I didn't even buy something concrete. So it's always good to make budget lists that will help you. And if you have children, it's better if you help them already start knowing how to budget. If your child is telling you that they need this and this, tell them to write a list. If you go to the shop with your child and they didn't include a certain thing in their list, and they are shopping with their eyes, you will literally know that this is not needed, simply because if you wanted it or needed it and you didn't put it in the list, then it shows that you don't really need it, because everything you need, it's at the back of your mind. Teach your kids this. That's how my mother did, and I turned out pretty well when it comes to budgeting and planning my finances. No matter how little your finances are, you can budget around them. If your career is just starting and you don't really have the big bucks yet, you can still create a healthy relationship with finances. Money and planning does not mean big bucks, guys. It doesn't mean that you have to be earning 50,000 or 100,000 per month for you to actually plan your finances correctly. One thing that is important, whether you are getting 6,000 per month or 2,000 per month, and you know how to cater for your finances, you are literally going to be more financially well off than somebody who gets 100,000 and does not know how to manage their finances. Being rich or being financially stable does not necessarily have to do with how much you get. It helps, but if you get a lot and you can't manage it, trust me, you're just going to be as broke as to the person who gets $2 per month. So it's very important to know how to manage your finances. And if you are like 18 or under, if you're still in your teens and you are still a child and you're watching this, when your parents give you money, just ask them, mom, dad, or how do you want me to spend this money? So it's gonna help in the long run. And the younger you start actually being financially literate, you are gonna become such a nice and responsible adult. And yes, back to we the adults. Financial planning is very important. It's one step away from being a really, really, really successful adult, because in the long run it's not about what you get, it's about how much you get to keep. So if you get to keep much and you get to know how you're spending it, definitely you are not gonna be up there going for cash loans and whatnot, because you have already planned your life. And also it's very important to create emergency funds. That is one thing that will keep us in debt when we don't create emergency funds. Emergency funds is money you put aside for in case life happens. You know, things that you didn't expect to happen and nature just brings its course. So it's very important to have an emergency fund where you actually get to have some money stored and take money away when such events come into your life. Emergency funds are important in that note that they will help you, cater for events that you did not plan for in your life. So it's very important to have an emergency fund. And we have compiled a small financial plan for you, just something small that you can use around your finances. So we are going to help you actually plan your finances in the most simplest form. It's very important to pick a financial plan that is not so complicated and does not leave you starved. Starving means that you save up even like 95% of your income and then you leave yourself with 5%, and honestly you cannot live on 5% of your salary, which means that even if you have saved 95% of your money, somewhere after 2 weeks you are still going to ask the bank or wherever you saved your money to give you, an extra portion of it, because you have finished what you saved for yourself. The key to saving is having goals that are set, because if you don't have goals that are set that you want to accomplish, if you don't tell yourself I want this in the next 2 months or in the next 7 years. We are a consultancy firm and we specialize in financial planning and budgeting. We also give legal advice, and we also specialize in confidence building and image building and just the overall coaching for you to become a better human being, personal development coaching. So if you need help with managing your finances, kindly reach us and find us on the following platforms: on Instagram at Vena Talks, on Facebook at Vena Talks. Reach us on our email address, venaconsultancy@gmail.com. Thank you very much for tuning in with us, always with love, and thank you for your support and constant tuning in. Thank you. Be blessed. Please pay yourself before saving and have your priorities set straight. So this is what you have created for you. You should determine your long-term financial goals. Your long-term financial goals, at least save 20 to 30% of your income. This is a portion of your income that you set aside to improve your net worth. Could be that you buy land, you invest in real estate, or you invest in stocks, something that is going to generate income for you in the long run. So it's very good to at least have your 20% or 30% on things that are going to generate income constantly for you. If you have a business, then invest in your business. And your short-term financial goals, this should take 15 to 20% of your income. And this generally just means that these are the things that you set for yourself. Like you want to go on vacation, you want to buy the Chanel bag, your household groceries, your fuel for the car, all these little expenses that are not going to generate to you money, but they are vital for your whole being. So you should have these long short-term financial goals, and you should keep putting away that, so you don't go and invade your long-term financial goals. So put enough money for that. And also living expenses take up at least 40% of your salary, and not everybody is the same. A lot of people are paying rent, and already 40% of their salary goes to their rent. If you have enough, and then that's what you should cater for after taking out your rent, obviously, because having a place to stay is very important. You don't have that tenant who does not pay their landlord on time, because you not paying your landlord on time means that you don't respect the place where you stay. And definitely you don't mind being homeless. No such thing. You don't want to be homeless. Plan your finances correctly. Living expenses can take up to 40%, because people have families, people are paying rent, people have houses to pay for, and people have groceries, you have children that you need to cater for. So it's very important to at least have 40% or 35% of your salary to your living expenses, especially if you are taking on the full adult responsibilities of catering for children and catering for a family. But if you are not yet, if you're living with your parents and you don't really have a lot of expenses, just please focus on your long-term financial goals, so that you can develop yourself when you decide to move out of your parents' house. And thank you.